Hello, welcome back. Just going to do another tutorial here. I think I have some software that'll help a little bit for explaining code and making all these things happen. So let's see if I can pop up a little view of the Arduino kit on here, and along with the code of the program that I'm going to use. This program here we're calling read analog value and display it in the serial monitor. Most sensors are either analog or digital. Analog is probably the easiest one to understand because what it does, it just sends back a voltage level that you can read by the microprocessor. It reads it in millivolts. And what we're going to do is hook up a potentiometer over here, which is basically a volume knob. And the way I have this hooked up, as I have in the code over here, attach one side of the potentiometer to 5 volts. Attach the other side of the potentiometer to ground. You know, the potentiometer has 3 pins, a top, middle, and bottom. And I put the top wire here, doesn't matter which one, to 5 volts, and the bottom wire to ground. The important wire on here is the one in the middle. That's called the wiper. And what that does is as you turn the volume knob, it moves in the position of the resistor and changes the resistance or changes the voltage that we're going to read. And I connected that middle pin to the A0 port on my processor. And that's what I have for the last one. I attached the middle pin potentiometer to A0. By the way, I left all these wires on here from the previous little project with the scroll bar. I'm going to come back to those because we're going to control those LEDs with the volume knob, and then we'll convert that to the photocell, which is another analog sensor. So I'll be working on that. But first, let's go through this. The code is enclosed here. I'll show you real quickly as we go through. The one thing new that you may want to notice on here is the serial begin. What that does, it tells the Arduino we're going to start using the serial port to communicate back to the computer and read the values. That's also going to activate the little red and green transmit light, and it's going to use pins 1 and 2 to communicate back to the computer. So we don't want to hook anything to those. We want to leave those open for communication. And the last little part of the code, I have some stuff commented out which I'll remove shortly and explain. We're going to take our analog level, and we declared that as a variable, and we're going to set it equal to, we're going to tell it to read the analog pin, analog read input pin, which is A0. And then down here we're going to serial print. The LN starts another line, so it'll print it on a new line each time. And then we're going to take about 1/3 of a second delay. 1,000 delay is a second, so this is about 1/3 of a second, just so it doesn't go super fast. I'm going to upload this code to my Arduino, so you should see my lights flashing over here. And by the way, I'm going to save this so I have this code to paste online. And then I'm going to come over here to the little serial monitor, the little magnifying glass over the right hand side of the Arduino software. I click that and it'll open up a little window, and I think it just opened my window underneath my window. Let me see if I can find it here. Where's my serial monitor? Oh, there it is. Ah! Okay, let me move my screen. There it is. Let's see if we can just pull that off here for a second. Put my Arduino back up. Okay, there's my screen, learning the software how it works. And here's my serial port. Now you notice, as I turn this potentiometer, this volume knob, I'm going to get a range of values from 1023 at one end, and it will scroll all the way down to 0. And what that is as the voltage changes ever so slightly, it's read by the Arduino, and we're just displaying that value so we can see what it's doing. Now, that's not too useful to me as they're big numbers, it's hard to get. You know, what about like a volume control, 0 through 10? So what I did is I modified the code a little bit, and what I need to do is start a new variable. If you go up here, take out these 2 lines, these little backslashes here are for commenting code. It's where you can type anything you want in there and the program will ignore it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the comment, and I'm going to start a variable called new value. Okay, and then I'm going to come down here to this line of code. I'm going to take out this, and I'm setting new value, and I'm going to use a map statement. What a map does, it takes a value. I'm going to say my analog value. This is what we were displaying earlier. By the way, make sure this baud rate here matches the baud rate on your window. If you get gibberish stuff, this little window might be set to a different value and you're going to get nonsense stuff that doesn't mean anything to anybody. So make sure that baud rate is matching the baud rate here, and you should get some logical data that we can make sense of. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this analog value that I was printing down here. This is a serial print command. This is what tells it to send it through the USB port and display it out. And I was just displaying that value. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a new value and I'm going to map it. I'm going to take whatever that number is, and it ranges from 0 to 1023, and I want it to range from 0 to 10. So I'm simply going to create another value. Those of you in mathematics, it's a linear equation. It will just run a formula on it given those two coordinates. And this line here, I'm going to tell it to print it to the serial monitor. I'm going to print my new value. This line here, I can take out my slashes. Notice the color changes. Print serial, that's a tab. What that does, it will put a little space in the serial monitor. And then I'm going to print my analog value and start a new line. So I'm going to upload this code to my Arduino. See my little red and green lights flashing here. Do a little blinking going on. And then I'm going to open up my serial monitor once it's done. I'm going to open it back up and I should have two numerical values. Now the first one, I told it to map the value, my analog value is on the right, from 0 to 1023, and I told it to map it from 0 to 10. So there's 0 on both, and here's as I slowly go up, my numbers, the analog value change very quickly, but I can scroll all the way up through 0 through 10. And I'm going to use this process for helping me control the LEDs on my next demo, which I'll hook this up and we'll make a little LED bar graph, and we'll make the LEDs light up based upon the volume knob, and then we'll put those to the light sensor. So I will post this code online. It will have the commented sections in there, so you'll have to go through and pull those out and you'll be able to see them work. Those few lines that were commented out will be commented, so you can follow along with the demo from the very beginning. So I hope that helps a little bit. It shows a little bit of programming and how to display stuff in the serial port, and also the map function, which we'll be using in the next lesson as well. Thank you.